All right, welcome to Random Thoughts, episode 61. Let's talk pre-game and post-game nutrition.
And intra-game even. Let's talk about Gatorades and Powerades and...
Are we now just talking about nutrition?
Nutrition around sport and exercise,
Yeah.
I suppose is the category.
Yeah, cool. So nutrition is a fascinating area. It's an area that's in its infancy.
It's a very young science, yeah.
Really young science. We follow Precision Nutrition, a lot of their stuff. I think
I will link to their homepage and to
brilliant.
their...
Just simple, well thought out.
So they take it all and then they just sort of, not so much summarize, but just make it applicable to the real world.
They're great.
Yeah, and they take
John Bernardi.
Bernardi, yep.
Yeah,
and
he's terrific.
He's a PhD and their crew, they're brilliant. An American-based company, I'll link their webpage. They do awesome infographics. They do really simple, well-constructed blogs. Yeah, love them.
It's great. But it is a very controversial area. A lot of people have different opinions, and because the science is so young, it's not, other sciences have been around for thousands of years.
You can, for every research paper you can find that says fat doesn't make you fat, you can find 50 that say fat does make you fat.
And it's a confounding type of science too, because there's so much of, there's science that says that eating a lot of red meat will give you cancer. But the problem is that the people with the diets that are really high in red meat also happen to have less veggies. And
happen to sometimes be drinkers or smokers. Like there's a lot of confounding things going on.
So many confounding variables. And so there's so much science that's actually a little bit correlation based around nutrition. So it's a really interesting area.
And it's not nutrition science. It's really hard to get a large cohort of people and then it control every single variable in their life that might affect life mortality or health status or performance, and then go, it was the change in red meat to white meat.
And make sure they ate the food that you wanted them to eat. And it just doesn't lend itself to science.
Typically, it's a report-based thing. So it's like, so Durham, you're in our study. Tell me what you ate yesterday. Oh, well, I had for breakfast four egg whites and half an avocado and 3 almonds. And people tend to over-report when they want you to hear good things, or under-report when they want to keep their bad things.
I've been looking at food diaries since 1999. And I have seen some of the fun, and people will just put this diary, and you're like, and we're talking about people who are not in great shape, and they put this diary in front of you, like, wow, you eat like way better than I do. How is it possible that you could be not ripped? And then it's like, because they're lying, either to themselves or to us. So it's a complex area.
And on that, we are not nutritionists.
Yeah.
We don't play one on the internet. We just offer general advice to sort of steer people in the right direction. General guidelines is as far as we go.
So let's talk big picture first.
And then we'll dial in on the game and workout stuff.
So big picture nutrition, I think the single most important thing is eating food that wasn't made in a factory. Human prepared food. Because companies and corporations preparing food have very little care factor about you.
Yeah, the goal is shelf life and profit.
Shelf life, addictiveness.
Which leads to both of those things, because it lasts longer, you don't throw it out, you don't have as much waste. Yeah. It's addictive, you want to buy 10 packets at once.
And the word they use is, instead of addiction, they don't use that because that's...
very druggy.
They talk about craveability. And they have foods that are high in craveability. So if you just do the opposite of that, if you just try and eat foods that you've prepared or another human has prepared rather than a machine, you're way ahead of the game already, because it will bias you towards fresh stuff.
More veggies, more plants, more nuts, more seeds, more whole grains that are cooked yourself,
We had a phenomenal, Dr. Dominic Kondo, who's our nutritionist
the
Boomers, and she's brilliant, and she gives us really good support there. She gave myself and the team a nutrition sort of tour
of Woolworths, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really cool. And just simple things like go around the edge of the supermarket, because that's where all the fresh stuff is. Yeah. Don't go in the middle. Like, you should only she said something that was like about how venturing into the aisles is like the risky part of the shopping, or
because that's where the lollies and soft drink. There's a whole aisle of soft drink. Just stay out of that aisle. Stay out of the lolly aisle.
Yeah, and if you go around the periphery and then kind of dart into the other areas, that was a really good advice. So in general terms, have less processed foods, as much things that are natural. Have more fat than you think you should, because people don't have enough. People are terrified of fat because of the great...
Fat does not make you fat.
The great conspiracy of carbs and the old, they're now being outdated food pyramid where it's like you should have all the cereals and carbs.
Yeah.
But don't go too extreme. Like people will then go full paleo, and it's like, you need some carbs to fuel your anaerobic activity. Some people
anaerobic glycolysis relies on glycogen.
Yeah, I'm going to say that again. You say it again. Anaerobic glycolysis.
So anaerobic glycolysis is the breakdown of glycogen anaerobically. That means without oxygen. It's not anaerobic fatolysis. It's glycolysis. So you can't be completely ketogenic or paleo with like 10 grams in your system. 10 grams of carbs in your system. You need glycogen. You need carbohydrates to fuel that.
Because I want to make sure that we talk on that enough that we're not spending 3 hours
answering questions.
3 hours dealing with arsholes.
Yeah. Talk about an arsehole for me, Durham.
Love that word. So Marnie Hay, shout out to Marnie. Marnie told us this term. So she's one of our interns and a great trainer, and she's just awesome. Marnie gave us the term arsholes, as in ASKHOLE. Arsehole, and that's a person who asks you advice on a topic and then immediately goes and completely disregards the advice because it doesn't suit with what they wanted to hear.
Or tries to fight you on it. So for example,
on the spot.
So for example, Durham, I need help with my running program. Jacob, you should do this. Well, I was thinking I might just run a marathon. Well, you shouldn't ask. So it's people who ask for opinions or ask for feedback or ask for input, and then either debate you on it after having asked for your professional or personal opinion, and then just go and disregard it or argue with you.
People do it to me all the time. They'll ask me a question that's right in my wheelhouse.
What's the best thing I can do for my vertical leap?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
And I'll say, well, mobility,
roll, stretch, activate, practice your landing.
Oh no, I saw on the internet this jump attack 10,000. I'm going to do that. Why do you even ask me? So ask holes. So there are a lot of that. I think there are more ask holes in nutrition
than all the other sciences combined, I would argue.
Yeah. It got so bad at one point I got a little cheeky, and people would ask me about diet, and I would say, the KFC diet's really good.
Every time I see KFC, I go in and I eat a lot of KFC.
Yeah, this is that's how I stay lean. Because I just got sick of being ignored. But anyway, so big picture, so more fat than you think. Not all of the fat.
It still is calorie dense, but it is. Your brain is like 80% fat. Your nerves require fat. Your skin, your cell membranes, they require lipids. That's a big deal.
Good fats.
Testosterone, growth hormone.
Omega-3, 6 and 9s. And saturated fat. I think saturated fat is an interesting watch this space one. I think people. I think it's gonna be like eggs. Like
eggs are good. Eggs are bad. Eggs are good.
And I think we're actually going to end up landing on saturated fat. If natural. Animal saturated fat is kind of fine.
You shouldn't be chasing it, but it's kind of a normal part of it.
You shouldn't be chasing it, but you shouldn't be avoiding it. Yeah. I think that's
just let it happen kind of thing.
Yeah. And then plenty of protein. And by plenty, we don't mean like 8 chicken breasts. You just need a chicken breast, just a decent amount. Just
a gram per kilo of body weight is a pretty good starting place. So if you're an 80 kilo athlete, around 80 grams of protein per day is probably your minimum. I wouldn't be going below that.
I would, and so the grams per kilogram of body weight has been upwardly revised by nutrition. You watch it, so you go back 20 years and they're saying you should have this amount, and just gradually they keep saying, actually we've decided. And so you got bodybuilders who are saying
2 to 2.5 times. So they'll be saying if you're 80 kilos, have 160 to 200 grams.
Which is just tiring.
It's just so much chewing.
I've done that.
Me too. It's just so much chewing and so much chicken breast.
And then there'll be the nutrition, which used to be sub 1 gram per.
Actually, it reminded me of a good point there. The nutrition guidelines, this has turned into just general nutrition here. The nutrition guidelines, they're actually just the minimum amount required. That's not for optimum performance. That's for not dying performance.
And so the minimum recommended daily intake for protein is now 1 gram per kilogram. So what I like to explain to our athletes is, so the RDI is for a...
RDI, recommended daily intake?
Is for a grown librarian. Person not having to grow at all anymore, does not have a physical job. If you're a 70 kilo librarian, you should be having 70 grams of protein. An active athlete with 16 sports sessions a week, you're going to need a bunch more.
Who's in the middle of a growth spurt, you're going to need like close to double that for sure.
So I think most food diaries that I have read, they are overdosed in simple carbs. So
sugar.
Just sugar with all different names. So fructose, sucrose, all those things. And then they're really underdosed for protein and often underdosed for fat. We had an athlete in here.
Sorry, on that, I think the biggest place they're underdosed for protein is breakfast too. Breakfast is like a protein wasteland.
You fasted for 8 hours. So the analogy when I'm trying to explain this is, I say, imagine you've not eaten all day and you are starving hungry, you haven't eaten all day. And you say, Durham, I need some food. And I go, cool. And I get 2 pieces of toast. And I put a bit of butter on my hand. There you go.
Have your buttered jam toast.
You go, well, that's not going to fill me up. That's not a good meal. And so it's a constant area of concern here where athletes will come in having had some jam toast for breakfast.
A banana.
And they'll get a little bit into their workout and they're running on empty tank really rapidly.
Doesn't take much to burn through that glycogen.
Yeah, so nailing breakfast, having a breakfast with some fat in it, with some protein in it, and the most, you're going to have, a lot of people are still going to have starchy carbs, and that's totally fine. You fasted 8 hours, it's a good time to replenish.
Carbs are good, yeah. Especially if you played or trained the night before.
But lower glycemic index carbs, so carbs that take longer to convert to blood sugar.
So I think oats.
Oats are amazing.
Oats with a bit of yogurt or peanut butter or nuts or seeds or something
Oats
like that.
with a bit of flaxseed oil if you like to do that. Yeah.
So oats are good. Eggs on like wholemeal or rye toast or sourdough toast is great. That beans recipe, which I'll link all these ones that we've got below. So there's a beans recipe we do, which is good. Do that on some toast with a bit of avocado. Perfect.
What's your current breakfast?
So I do a breakfast shake, which is just because I'm sort of doing a quick thing while I get into work and get started, and then I have an earlier lunch to sort of compensate for that.
So what's your breakfast shake?
It's got whey protein, ground up oats, so it's turned into like an oat flour type thing, a bit of flaxseed, there's some cacao or flavouring or something like that, and then a bit of greens mix.
Nice.
So it's kind of like just like a hit all the things but in a liquid form. It doesn't fill me up. I get to 11:30, I'm like, where's lunch? But because we're a luxury here, sort of working on our own clock, I can take lunch when I like, so that allows me. If you're a school student, I would not recommend that because you've got to wait. You're on a bell for lunch.
You want to have something more biased towards mine.
Yeah, far away.
So mine is 5 Cevaps, which are delicious sausages.
What's a Cevapi?
Oh,
well, I'm a vegetarian now, so it's no good to me, but explain to the audience.
A Cevap is like a skinless rectangular sausage, and we have a local butcher that makes them by hand, and they are just like James.
So it's like a hamburger in a sausage form almost.
Yeah, James, is that you? Yeah. Come and tell about the Cevap. James had his first Cevap last week.
Scooch across. There's some room.
Yeah, so I hadn't seen it before.
Country boy.
Well, I've never heard of it either. So.
And it was amazing. So definitely have to have them in the future. What's the topic?
We're doing breakfast.
Breakfast.
We'll come back to mine. What's your breakfast?
Eggs. 2 eggs and a mix of tomato, mushroom, avocado.
Like a breakfast bubble and squeak almost, isn't it?
Yeah. And that when I'm sick of eggs.
It smells amazing, James's breakfast.
When I'm sick of eggs, I'll have just a smoothie. Bit of fruit, bit of butter, some nuts of some variety.
Cool.
Keep it simple.
Good. We'll round out the Cevaps thing and we'll come back to my complete breakfast. So the thing I love about, I like food prep that is quick, because I hate
remove the barriers. Yeah,
make it the path of least resistance to eating well. The thing about the Cevaps is they're rectangular, and so you can really easily you take off the lid and then you get a spatula and you go and you just tip them into the griddle pan, and they're all linked still. And so you cook one side for 3 minutes, medium heat. You go
flip all of them together. Nice.
Flip all of them together, and then you use a spatula to stab between to separate them, and then you just do a 3/4 turn on each, so you get all 3 sides 3 minutes. Well, actually, I do them for 10 minutes. I shortcut the last side. So
3, 3, 2, 2, something like that. Yep.
Yeah. And you've got these delicious sausages that you can then, and they fit just perfectly. I don't know if you've noticed, but they fit perfectly in our standard Sistema Tupperwares.
Oh, the glass ones?
Yeah. No, the plastic ones.
Oh, the plastic ones?
Yeah, so they're this perfect rectangle. You just got them lined up like cigarettes in a pan. No one smokes here, that was. But anyway, Cevaps are great because they're pre-done and you can just, away you go. So I have 5 Cevaps, half an avocado, 2 eggs, a huge helping of cottage cheese, and around 200 grams of sweet potato, and some chopped up cucumber, and some spinach leaves and heaps of olive oil. And, so I have a breakfast that would feed, and I weigh 65 kilos, and it would feed 2 people. Like, it's a big.
But that's your breakfast is also you train first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
So you'll train fasted and then eat straight after that.
Yeah, I'm hungry after I've trained.
And also, you don't know what's going to happen with your day. Like, there'll be times where it gets till 3 p.m. We're about to start coaching. Oh crap! I haven't eaten again. Yeah. So yours is kind of insurance against busyness, in a sense.
Yeah, I'm putting the food in the tummy bank.
Like dinner for breakfast, in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And it lasts longer. Like, I'm not. When I used to eat cereal, it was. I said, we had an athlete this week who was having he's having consistent issues with feeling faint in the gym. And I said, what do you have for breakfast? And she's like, cornflakes.
I had pancakes and a banana. Like one of the athletes. That was the report. I'm like, it's not enough.
But it's better than cornflakes. I mean, cornflakes, think about surface area. You've taken the corn and you've ground it up. You've flattened it out completely. So when it goes into your tummy, the acid can access all of the...
Yeah, which is another reason, back to the smoothies, which is why smoothies and juices aren't great. Because of that extra surface area, they just literally just shoot straight through your stomach.
Because it's how quick can the acid attack. So something round, the acid can attack the outer layer, and then it has to go again. And again, it has to work its way through that. Whereas something flat or something powdery,
or liquid,
yeah. Anyway, so she was having
cornflakes.
So that's it. Like, that's better than nothing, but it's still pretty terrible. So you've got to have something substantial.
Yeah. For those of us who are vegetarian who don't do Cevapcici, beans and eggs are a great option. Peanut butter, handful of nuts. Stuff like that.
Who was it out of you guys that was it you that put in the idea of peanut butter with the porridge?
I invented that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Trademark Jacob's over. So do your oats, tablespoon of peanut butter on the side, and it melts in, and you just dip your spoon in the peanut butter, and then dip it into the oats.
Or you can do it on the side. I like mine separate.
You do cold oats though. You're a bit odd like that. My oats have got to be like molten.
Yeah.
Not like liquid.
But either way, you're getting more protein in.
Protein, fats. Yeah.
It's a great
and delicious.
So good, so delicious. Yeah. So we've talked about breakfast. I feel like this is probably enough. Like, let's have because it's a bit like a coaching session. What I'll typically do is say, all right, let's work our way forward from breakfast. So let's nail breakfast.
Win breakfast, you win the day. Yeah.
And can we talk about this before we round off? Let's talk about the psychology of getting that first win.
Far away.
So for me, and results may vary. People are going to be different. But for me, my psychology is that if I knock breakfast out of the park, if I have this amazing breakfast of like I just described, I feel pretty smug. I'm like, that was 10 out of 10 nutrition. Like, I've nailed that.
Kind of like morning training. In the same way morning training's like ahead of the game.
Yeah. And so then when someone offers me like for instance, Tennille made
my birthday cupcakes. Thanks, Tennille.
I don't know if you noticed what I did, but I put a tea towel over them today, so I can't see them.
I saw that.
Did you?
We are really just animals at the end of the day, like fancy monkeys.
But anyway, so if I've nailed that breakfast, then the rest of the day I'm so much more likely to eat great because I feel like I don't want to ruin. I'm on a roll, and so getting your day off to as I said, make your bed. I get out of bed. Make your bed, just not like
fix up your top sheet. Yep.
Top sheet. Jacob's a top sheet fan.
I love top sheets. Top sheets are great.
No, you're weird.
You guys are too restless with your sleeping. You just go lie there.
There's a whole. It's a real thing though. There's a whole. Some of our athletes.
Maybe that'll be next week's episode.
No. Anyway, so the psychological, habitual benefit of a kick-ass breakfast, really setting you up to win the day.
In the same way that you don't want to let a binge from the day before trickle into the next day. Like people go on benders with their food. You use breakfast to break those benders.
So Monday night we had the Bustle Victoria Awards dinner, and I did not hold back. They do it at this place, Merrimoo Receptions near Chatty, and the food's always beautiful. It's a great community night. It's really nice, but the food's just great. And I ate everything I could. It was just delicious. I had 2 desserts because there was an empty chair.
Double down.
I
could have easily, it was a bad eating night, But next morning, bang, straight back on it, like a really good breakfast. Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people let that go. I ate crap last night. I ate crap for breakfast, so the day's gone. The day's ruined.
It's too late. Why bother? It's like that thing where if you haven't achieved something by 2:30 in the hour, it's the day's gone. Pack up and go home.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna start. I'll just check my email again and go home. Yeah. With nutrition, you should really have the exact opposite mentality of every single meal is a chance to reset and start again. So you might have stuffed up breakfast, you might have stuffed lunch. Now's the chance.
And I think variety. I'm a really big fan of variety. Is really important, and the rest of and we'll get to in part 2 of this. We'll talk about the rest of the day.
Part 3 and 4 and 5 and 6.
Variety is really important. Except I think for breakfast, sameness. It's a bit like how good is wearing a uniform to work? Yeah. Just chuck your clothes on.
Easy.
Grey shirt, black shorts. Yeah.
Done. Yeah. I think it's a bit like that with breakfast. You don't have to think about it. There's no cognitive load. You just go bang. I'm gonna have this done. Move on, and then you can have your variety for your other meals.
Yeah, you get your fancy and your flavour there. I mean, you make breakfast tasty, but not like, oh, it's gonna be this, it's gonna be that.
It's just like this is what I have. Yeah.
Yeah. Part 1 of Jacob, Durham, and James talk about all the nutrition things and ramble on because we're not nutritionists and we don't really know. This is general advice. We're not nutritionists.
Please don't take it too far. It's just general advice.
Yeah. So many people tend to sabotage themselves. This is a way of sort of breaking that sabotage loop, I think, with your nutrition.
Do the simple things well. Eat food that didn't come from a factory. Have a kick-ass breakfast. We'll talk to you more next week.
Yeah. And we'll... Yeah.